Hi, welcome to another devlog for AAA Simulator. Did you know Annapurna's entire publishing team just walked out over a dispute with the corporation that owned them? Did you know a former Sony president recently said laid off workers should just work for Uber or go to the beach? Or that Sony's new flop called Concord failed so fast that they pulled it off the shelves within 2 weeks? And I don't want to pick on Sony. There are plenty of other greedy corporations out there, like Microsoft. Did you know they laid off over 2,000 people this year, and counting? It was so bad that Diablo boss Rod Ferguson had to remind his employer that, quote, these people aren't knobs and dials. That last one actually inspired the prototype for AAA Simulator, although I used a slider instead of knobs and dials because they don't really translate to mouse and keyboard so well. The point is, I heard that quote and it immediately inspired a game design where your only means of control is a slider to hire and fire people. If a business is seen through this lens, it inherently limits the direction the company will take, as Rod Ferguson rightly pointed out. It limits the way employees are seen, the way profit and shareholders are seen, and it limits the shape of the so-called art that the corporation creates. I want to spend a few minutes talking about why. And with news of these corporate greed fails still coming out every day, I thought about making a video essay about it. But I think a devlog is better framing, because this is exactly what my core gameplay loop is about. Just for a bit of context, AAA Simulator is a tycoon game. You try to grow your business by hiring and firing employees, selling games, and making money. It's in its early stages, and I'm in the process of pinning down a core gameplay loop. It goes something like, an event pops up, and you have to respond by hiring or firing employees. This affects your cost of production and the time to release, which in turn affects your profits. Your shareholders are either satisfied or they're mad and your stock price plummets. To make the game enjoyable, all of these systems need to interact with each other in a feedback loop that's satisfying yet balanced. This is where a whole lot of difficult math makes game design hard. But I've realized the real world has given me all the systems I need. Take shareholder satisfaction. Here, truth really is stranger than fiction. In their fiscal report to end 2023, Embracer Group said, our overruling principle is to always maximize shareholder value in any given situation. That's after they cut 1,400 workers in 6 months and canceled a couple dozen games. It's all about their unrelenting commitment to maximizing shareholder value. Their words again, not mine. It couldn't be more blatant. Firing people is purely in the interest of pleasing shareholders. So, for my gameplay loop, everything should point towards the shareholders. Meet their demands and things will be great for you. Piss them off too many quarters in a row and you'll be fired. Just know that each quarter they'll demand more profit than the last. Shareholder satisfaction doesn't even need its own stat in the game. It can be measured directly in the value of your stock. The events which kick off the whole cycle can also draw inspiration from reality. In my earliest prototype, I set up a new system with a sample event based off of Blizzard's real-life antics. For the past few years, they've been dealing with a huge sexual harassment lawsuit brought by the state of California. In AAA Simulator, your response to this event can be to hire or fire people. What else? This affects your costs, which affects your profits, which changes your shareholders' opinion of you, and the cycle goes on. The loop is also kept going by the narrative consequences. If you fire people, the media will respond to your decision saying, you not only ignored the sexual harassment scandal at your workplace, but you also happily hired more people to replace those who quit in protest. But who cares? The only people who matter to you are the shareholders. And now we're starting to get into ways the core gameplay loop influences your decisions. There are no people in this loop. There's no art. Of course, I'll also make feedback loops around the public's perception of your studio or hype, and there will be a stat to track employee satisfaction, which will affect your release times. But this stat will be invisible. And in my experiments so far, I've started seeing the possibility of using these stats to create endless development cycles where you add features in order to chase hype and impress shareholders. Then when the game is finally released, it flops, just like Concord. This gameplay loop fosters an environment where you have to streamline, to become a business that stamps out products as efficiently as possible. It's all about producing commodities instead of a service crafted by experts. Ironically, that's a perfect description of the live service model. That's why everyone at Annapurna walked out. They got a bad deal from their parent company when they tried to go independent, so they realized they had all the talent to publish games themselves, and they collectively walked away with it. Tech and entertainment companies are constantly struggling to make sure that doesn't happen, that they can repeatedly produce the product that their audience wants without having to mess with pesky experts and artists. Do you want to live in a world where media and entertainment suck like this? I don't, so I'm making this game to show something in a genuinely entertaining way. And my theory is that it all goes back to that feedback loop of satisfying shareholders. And that real-world economy can be replicated in a management sim to produce similar results. So far my prototypes are promising, but there's a lot more work to do. The prototype phase will have to go for a while longer too. I have some more research to do and some more math and code to toil through, but that's not very entertaining to watch, so I'm not going to show that part to you. But the more I work on this project, the more hopeful I get. It's going to be good. I'll let you know as soon as I have more to show you. For now, thanks for watching.